So we're going to continue chapter 49, Perek Mem Tet. Perek Mem Tet, this chapter, in some ways answers the previous chapter's question. Here we're being asked to demonstrate to Hashem, to reciprocate to Hashem, a love which He shows us, a love that is obvious to us if only we take a look at the creation. The creation says a lot about Him, about Hashem, and if we dig deeper, we will be able to tell what He expects of us too. After all, He did not just expect us to figure it all out. What is life all about? It appears to have meaning and purpose. No one just makes a building for no reason. The world is a lot more complex than a building. There's a lot of thought to it, and it shows a tremendous amount of care. And that is what Hashem is all about. He cares about us. He's kind, He's benevolent, and that's what He expects from us, is to connect to Him in a similar fashion. That connection, however, can only come about if we follow His will, if we follow His instructions. The non-Jewish world has 7. If they were to follow His instructions properly, then the world would be stable, but it would not be completely elevated. In order to elevate the world, which is the ultimate goal, to elevate the world to a spiritual level, to a higher level, to transform that which is physical to spiritual, to rid the world of all the darkness, and to bring in the light of Hashem, that requires a lot more than just 7 Noahide laws. That is what the Jewish people were chosen for. So we have a special mission. And in order to accomplish that mission, we need not only to observe the Torah mitzvot, we need to do it with love and fear. Because love and fear, as we've explained before, are the wings that elevate all our deeds from the physical lower world to the higher worlds. And why is that so important, that we do it with love and fear? Because in the end, it's not just about perfecting this world, it's about perfecting ourselves. When man perfects himself, that is the way he forms a stronger connection with Hashem. Not just a connection, but a stronger connection. So obviously, if you are sincere, if you love someone, you care about them, then you will do a lot more for them. And you will mean it. And this is a very important idea. The actual deeds that we perform are not just symbolic in nature, but this is actually what accomplishes what needs to be accomplished in this world. This is where Judaism differs from other religions, especially from Christianity. It's not enough to just believe. We actually have to perform deeds. Deeds are required. So when he talks about Chokhmah, Vina, Vadat, when he talks about the various levushim of the neshama, the various garments of the soul, namely the thought, the speech, and the deed, these are very important garments. Garments not only because they express the soul outwardly, but they actually are the ones that carry out the will of Hashem. It is not just enough to think about things, even though we have seen that the thought, the machshava, is very powerful. That is one area where one connects on a certain level to Hashem. Through hitbonenut, by contemplating, by reflecting. All of that happens in the thought. We don't talk when we're meditating. So that is an important connection. We have to be in sync with someone. We have to somewhat agree with them on at least most issues, otherwise we won't get along. 2 friends, husband and wife, even though they're different, they have to pretty much agree. And that is what the machshava is all about, to think alike, to want similar things, even though not everything is the same. And then there is the dibur, the speech. You can't just be quiet. You need to communicate. That is another form of connection with Hashem and with human beings. We need to communicate. We need to say words, hopefully good words, positive words. And in the end, you have to prove it. Demonstrate that you're sincere, that you're devoted to the cause, whatever it may be, by doing, by being a partner in creation. Man is the crown of creation. Man, Jew and non-Jew. We have great responsibilities. We can be partners, or chas v'shalom, we can ruin what is supposed to be a beautiful place. It is supposed to be a beautiful place. This earth can really be a beautiful place if man did his job right. So how do we go about doing our job right? So in this perek, we're going to see part of that answer, even though we've spoken about various approaches, methods by which one can connect to Hashem. The bottom line is Torah and mitzvot for a Jew. However, in order to get the Jew to continuously observe the Torah and mitzvot, there needs to be momentum. There needs to be something that triggers the ratzon, the will, the desire. If there's no will and the desire, then eventually it's going to die. In other words, that spark that's there is not going to be so flaming. It's not going to be so ardent. It's going to be the more and more dim. And the will, the desire, the interest will go away. So we want to keep the momentum going. And in order for that to happen, the more clarity one has as to what he's doing, the better. When people don't have clarity, so they begin to have more doubts and questions and issues. What is this for? Who needs this? Why do Jews suffer so much? Why all this anti-Semitism? And many try to get away from Judaism because of that. They didn't understand why everybody hates us. It's not that they hate you. It's all from Shamayim. Don't you realize it's come from Shamayim? Didn't you read? Didn't you study the Torah? So obviously there's a lot of ignorance. But putting aside ignorance, he made a very important point all along, that even the most simplest person who's not knowledgeable at all can still form a connection. And that's why it's important that we relate what we're going to say now, what we're going to learn now, that even to the simple person, that he understand the basics. And the basics will come down to V'ahavta Hashem Elokecha v'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha, the chapter that we say in Shema Yisrael, how to love Hashem with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. How does that happen? So, in the previous chapter, a very important point was made. He began to describe to us the tzimtzumim. The tzimtzumim are the contractions, how the world was formed from a Kabbalistic perspective. The light of the Ein Sof, the infinite light, the Or Hashem, needed to contract itself in order for physical beings, human beings like us, to be able to relate to it, to be able to absorb it. If we would not be physical, if we would be completely spiritual, then we might as well just be part of Him and be completely batelo mevutal. Hashem has enough angels for that are more spiritual in nature. He wanted physical beings in the physical world that are somewhat apart. What does it mean apart? That they have a certain awareness of who they are. The more spiritual something is, it is annulled, it is canceled. It doesn't even have its own identity almost. There's no free will in the upper worlds. Hashem wants to have physical beings that have free will. They can do His will, or they can, God forbid, rebel against Him. That's the way He wished it to be. It's a tremendous job to take such individuals who can rebel against Him, on the other hand, who can do His will, and convince them, here, I give you an important job, go ahead and do it. Transform this world, elevate this world to a level where I can dwell amongst you, where the divine presence can be here, where you can connect with me in the most powerful way and serve me through the observance of mitzvot. Malachim don't have this. The angels don't have this. Even though the angels do His will, it's almost automatic. Hashem has many messengers, all kinds of messengers. They don't rebel. The human being has the ability to go against Hashem's wishes. And we've seen it throughout history. All the evil, which is a creation from Hashem too. It's something that we can never completely fathom and properly understand why it needs to be like this. We don't know everything about the creation. We never saw Hashem's blueprint. We don't know exactly why He does things the way He does, but we have an idea. We know that this is a temporary world. This leads to a more permanent place called Olam Haba, the world to come. We know that that is more spiritual, that this is more physical. But what we don't realize enough, and which is a very important point that he's going to talk about briefly here, is that there are many impediments in the physical world. It's not just about a spiritual world being permanent. That's beautiful, it's so nice that we can live forever and enjoy the proximity of Hashem, the Shekhinah. The physical world is very different than the spiritual world in a very important way. Here there are obstacles and impediments that can actually sever the connection between us and Hashem or create distance. And there isn't. There's no Yetzer Hara, there's no evil inclination, and here there is. So that is already a big difference between this world and the world to come, between life here on earth and in the heavens. Malachim, therefore, angels don't have those challenges and struggles, and we do. So what he's trying to emphasize in this chapter, which he began in the previous chapter, is to demonstrate to us, just take a look at the type of world that Hashem has created, how he went through so many contractions, the light of Hashem, in order to create this physical world. For what purpose? For you. What does all this show? It shows focus. Just like he focused only on earth. As far as we know, there's no life. Or at least our type of life anywhere else in the universe. As far as we know. So look, he focused on this one location, this one small planet, in this one small nation. Look how much he focused. And he chose us. Look what he went through to creating this world. He had to contract himself, contraction after contraction. This is what you should look at, because this is what is expected of you, to focus on him. This is what he wants. But there are impediments, there are things that disturb, that interfere. And speaking about interference, we all love our children. May all parents enjoy their children. It is instinctive for a parent to feel very, very close to his child, much more than the child feels for his parent. Hashem made it so. However, even though we love our children very, very much, they take away from the attention perhaps that other things deserve in life too. The Chafetz Chaim, unfortunately, had to eulogize one of his children who passed away during his lifetime. Very, very tragic. May we never know anything close to that. And what did he say? There was once a mother that lost a child. And she turned to Hashem and she said, up until now my love was split between the child and you. Now that you've taken the child, all my love is directed towards you. And that is how the Chafetz Chaim expressed that all along his love, or part of his love, was directed towards that child too. Now he has more love that he can expend and devote to Hashem. Beautiful words, very powerful words. Not everybody, of course, can say those words. Not everybody feels that way. But I gave you this example, this story, just to illustrate how in life there are many things that take away from our time and attention, and therefore interfere with that connection that can exist with Hashem. So, how do we deal with that? We spoke about the importance of Idbonenut, of reflecting, taking time to think a lot, to using our machshava, our thoughts, in a very important way, and that is to think about Hashem, how much He loves us and how much we should love Him. So in chapter 49, I'm going to briefly read through it because it's not so difficult. It describes how Hashem came down into this world, level after level, through various tzimtzumim, in all to show us how much He cares about us. והנה, אף כי פרטי בחינת ההסתר והאילם אור אינסוף ברוך הוא בהשתלשלות העולמות, עד שנברא העולם הזה הגשמי עצמו מספר ומינים וממינים שונים, even though the concealment of Hashem, the concealment of that light, as it's coming down into the various worlds, up until this physical world, This concealment has gone through various stages, he says, many stages. כידוע לתואמים מעץ החיים. All kinds of stages that only those who have studied Kabbalah are familiar with. But he says, I'm going to summarize it for you. When we talk about tzimtzumim, the contractions of that light, in order to form this physical world, דרך כלל הם שלושה. שלושה מיני צמצומים עצומים כלליים. In general, we have three categories or stages of contractions, very powerful contractions that came about. And they correspond לשלושה מיני עולמות כלליים, to the three basic worlds that somewhat we're familiar. I say somewhat because we're not really familiar, but that we heard about, that we know about. There are four worlds, but the ones that really relate to the tzimtzumim, where the tzimtzumim is actually seen, not by us, but in the creation of the world, are Biriya, Yetzirah, and Asiyah. Atzilut, which is the upper world, doesn't really have a contraction. It's a continuous emanation of Hashem himself, in a way. So therefore, it is not included here in the Tzimtzumim. So you have three major contractions taking place as the world is being created. ובכל כלל יש ריבו רבבות פרטים. It says in every category or in every stage, as we're going down the levels, there's thousands upon thousands of details. But for now, just remember there's three worlds. שלושה עולמות בריאה. בריאה, יצירה, and עשייה. In English, bria would be creation, yetzirah, formation. As you can see, there's already form, much more form in formation than there is in creation, ex nihilo, from nothing. Then there's the asiyah, which is the physical, where you can actually see things with your physical eyes. כי עולם האצילות הוא אלוקות ממש. As I said, the world of Atzilut is really divine. וכדי לברוא עולם הבריאה שהן נשמות ומלאכים עליונים, in order to create the world of Bria, which is the abode of the highest form of Malachim, of angels, because there's different kinds of angels. אשר עבודתם לשם בבחינת חוכמה, בינה ודעת המתלבשים בהם. Their service of Hashem involves חוכמה, בינה ודעת, in other words, wisdom and understanding on their level that dresses itself up in them, through which they are able to be masig, they're able to grasp their service, in other words, their duties of what they need to do for Hashem. In other words, their level, their stage of receiving that ability to relate to Hashem on the level of Chokhmah bin Avadat, in order for that to happen, it went through a tremendous tzimtzum, tremendous contraction, because they're able to grasp something. They're a lot higher than us. They're a lot closer to Hashem in a sense. But in order for them to grasp, in order for them to have a certain awareness, there had to have been a tzimtzum. Remember, if there's no tzimtzum, there's no awareness. You're basically annulled. So that needed to happen. The same thing from going from בריאה to יצירה. כי אור מעט מזעיר המתלבש בעולם הבריאה עדיין הוא מבחינת אינסוף לגבי עולם היצירה. That light, the little bit of light that is dressed up in Olam HaBriyah, compared to the lower world, it's like an Or Ein Sof. The higher world, the light, is like an infinite light compared to the light that has come down to the lower world. In this case, Olam HaYetzirah. ואי אפשר להתלבש בו אלא לידי צמצום ואלם. And it cannot come down and dress itself up further, unless it's further contracted and concealed. וכן יצירה לעשייה. Same thing as it's going down from יצירה to עשייה. כמו שכתוב במקום אחר. ביאור שלושה צמצומים אלו באריכות, לקרב לצילום. As it is explained elsewhere, a little bit more of an elaboration, what these three contractions are all about. תכלית כל הצמצומים, what is the ultimate goal, the purpose of all the tzimtzumim? כדי לברוא גוף האדם החומרי. It is to create a physical human being. And what do we need the human being for? להקפיה לסטרה אחרא, to subdue the impure forces. It's called the Sitra Achara. V'liyot yitaron ha'or min ha'choshech, and to give light an advantage over darkness. Darkness represents concealment, but in this physical world, darkness also describes the klipot, the various impure shells. And they are the ones that stand in the way of service to Hashem. They have a different agenda. They're physical in nature, they want to enjoy life, the physical life, nothing to do with spirituality whatsoever. It is a very selfish agenda, where spirituality is the exact opposite. It is unselfish. It is capable of self-sacrifice. Very, very different, two exact opposites. And these two are somewhat represented, these two opposites are somewhat represented in the Jewish nation versus Amalek. Amalek, source or the epitome of evil, tremendous concentration of evil, and the Jewish nation doing their best, at least, to represent the ultimate good, that which is pure, that which is spiritual and divine. It doesn't mean that every Jew is on that level, but he's been given the soul and the mission, the tools through the mitzvot, to basically join that camp and fulfill his mission, or his part of the mission, because every individual has a different part of the mission. So we need physical human beings to accomplish this important job called lakafia, to subdue the Sitra Achara. That's what Hashem wants us to do. You, man, go ahead and subdue your evil inclination. Subdue the Sitra Achara. And when you do that, you will be brightening or illuminating the physical world with a lot more light and driving away that darkness. And how will this happen? Be'alut ha'adam et nafsho elokit v'chiyunit u'levusha v'kol kochot haguf kulan Hashem levado. When he's able, when man is able to elevate his soul, including his physical soul, the one that gives him vitality, with all its garments, the divine soul, the physical soul, and all its garments, v'kol kochot haguf kulan, and all the powers of the physical body, Hashem levado, to focus them, to direct them, to do the will of Hashem. Now you may be thinking, well, wait a minute, don't we need to eat and sleep? These are things that we need ourselves. These are physical things that the body needs. Are they also for Hashem? So I think I did explain several times that when you have the right kavanah, when you have the right focus and intent, that why am I eating? I'm not eating to just fill up my belly. I'm eating to be healthy so I can continue to serve Hashem. Then that food is elevated. That food is elevated. That food is for the service of Hashem. It's at a completely different level. When we do shechita, when we slaughter an animal, we're not just killing an animal to eat. We're doing it in such a way that, as the Torah instructed us, to elevate this deed of taking a life away from the animal. We're not going to get into the argument or the discussion of vegan or those that don't believe in, what are they called? Vegetarians? Don't believe in eating meat for health reasons or for other reasons. The Torah permits it. As long as we don't abuse it and we don't overdo it, you're allowed to eat meat. You're allowed to eat a lot of things to make sure you make a blessing over it before you eat it and after you eat it. So even food can be elevated. Even food, which is very, very physical. But food, as you know, can go for the wrong things as well. People stuff themselves. And not only is that not good for the physical body, spiritually, it is a big obstacle. Why is it an obstacle? Because the more emphasis one puts on the physical matter, whether it's luxuries or food, he's giving more energy, more power to the physical body than to his neshama. Remember, we explained that the neshama is in a sort of a cage. The soul is in a cage, the physical body. It cannot fully express itself unless we allow it. So we have Shabbat, which is a beautiful special day where Hashem says, you abstain from physical work, take advantage of this day, connect to me. This is your chance during the holidays too. But even during the week, we have our prayers, we have mitzvot that continuously remind us and guide us so that we don't forget, that we don't get distracted. Before you know it, life is over. What did we do? So man, in the physical state that he is in, needs continuous reminders. And as we will see, some of those reminders are through prayer alone, but the vast majority of them occur through the mitzvot that we perform on a regular basis. These mitzvot not only are our way of complying with Hashem's will, they do something for us. When I say they do something, it's not just about perfecting our character, which many of the mitzvot, that's what they do. It's also about taking that which is physical, the physical body, and elevating it and purifying it. Otherwise, think about it. Why do we need Chiyat HaMetim? Why do we need the resurrection of the dead? The neshama, if that's the essence of human being, it did its job. Let it go straight to Olam Haba, to world. What do we need a certain amount of years where the body will get up and enjoy? For what purpose? Hashem says that body that purified itself, that body that contributed to make this a dwelling place for me, that body deserves a reward as well. So we're talking about the importance of elevating the body, therefore. Not only using it as a vehicle to do the mitzvot, which it is, it's a vehicle. The mouth is a vehicle, as he will soon explain. But also to elevate that body to a higher level, for it to be holy. Holy means apart. And once a Jew is holy, he's connected to Hashem, because I am holy, he says. So you want to be holy, you want to be close to me, then you need to connect with me. Now, connection can happen through a very, very strong and powerful way called a kiss, which he's going to talk a little bit about too. We mentioned that before. Nishikin, as it says in Shir HaShirim, Yishakeni mi neshikot pihu. Why is Solomon talking about a kiss? So on a Kabbalistic level, a kiss is a very powerful connection, because we're talking about not just a physical connection now anymore, but it's the iddabkut rucha berucha. We're talking about a spiritual connection through the spirit. So if we're talking about a strong connection, it's going to be both physical and spiritual, because the human being, after all, is composed of both, the two, the soul and the body. So we're not just connecting physically by performing and observing a mitzvah. We want to connect spiritually. We want to say words to Hashem. And through all that we do, through our machshava, dibur, and maaseh, through our thought and speech and deeds, we connect. Some on a higher level, some on a lower level. But either way, it can happen if one observes the Torah mitzvot properly. Because ultimately, it's the Torah mitzvot that Hashem is interested. The only question is, how is the mitzvah going to be done? Is it going to be done with one's complete heart in it or not? That is where it's going to make a difference. Because the more heart, the more kavanah one puts into the mitzvot, even though all he's using is his hand, forget about the mouth right now, all he's using is his hand, still, it's going to make a world of a difference. Because on a spiritual level, that kavanah, that intent is from the mind. Follow me? It's no longer just a physical act. So he's inserting into that deed a tremendous amount of love, or kavanah, whatever you want to call it. And because of that, not only does it impress him, it makes a tremendous impression in the upper worlds. And you might say, so what? What comes out of making an impression in the upper worlds? Well, this leads to another topic that we don't have time to go into right now, but when we do things down here below, we prompt a reaction in the upper world. And he's going to briefly touch on that at the end of the Perek when he talks about Mayim Nukavim, that we mentioned before, female waters. You want something to come down, you have to trigger it down here. You have to do something to bring it about. And even though that is going to be more directed towards the love that we should demonstrate, but the general idea, the general concept of Mayim Mukavim is, as we've said before, is called Itaruta Deletata, an awakening down here below. So we have the power, even though we're limited, we have the power to make a big difference in this world by pretty much beseeching Hashem not only through our prayers but through our deeds. Bring down the shefa, the bracha, bring down the blessing and the flow. So we have to begin, we have to initiate, we have to do something to bring that about. So we're continuing on with the contractions that throughout the creation, throughout the various contractions, the physical world is being formed, and in the end, the goal is present in the physical world much more than anywhere else. The goal or the purpose of creation is down here below, more than anywhere else. In other words, even though there are angels in the upper worlds, and they have a purpose too, the ultimate goal is, after all the contractions have been made to allow for physical world, this is where Hashem's focus is. So this is where you will find the goal or the purpose of life. It lies with man much more than it lies with angels. It lies more with the Jewish people than with anyone else. Even everyone is important. All human beings are created in the image of Hashem. So everyone has a purpose. But the ultimate goal of this world is really much more in the hands of the Jewish nation, because we spoke about elevating the world. Who does that? The Jewish people. How? Through Torah mitzvot. So this is where you find it. You find it in the physical world. This is, in the end, the ultimate goal, the purpose of the worlds being formed. So now we're going back to explaining Hashem's love for us. Like one's reflection in the water, we need to reciprocate. So look, he says at the following. Look what Hashem did, so to say. He left everything aside, his light, which is infinite, and he went and contracted it and concealed it in 3 different kinds of concealments. Okay? So look what he did. He took his infinite light and contracted it several times. What for? Only for his love to man, so that he can elevate him to Hashem, to himself. He says, even though love is expansive, here love is having an effect of contraction, because the light is being contracted. So he says, yes, love can sometimes contract, as the term that he uses here from the Gemara. Love can impel the flesh. So, if there is love, the love can somehow find its way and push its way, which is what Hashem pretty much did. For what purpose? Because of his love for man. Therefore, by seeing this, by observing this, and where we see this a little bit more on a daily basis, he's going to talk about next, but from seeing this, the more so we need to understand what's the message here? Man should take from this that he should also let go everything he has. His soul, his flesh, to let everything go, in order to connect to Hashem in the most powerful way, through attachment, through desire. No impediment should be there. Nothing should prevent him from connecting to Hashem, not inside his evil inclination, right? Or outside. Lo guf velo nefesh, not the physical body, not the nefesh. Lo mamun velo isha, not money, not his wife and other children. And look what Hashem did. Hashem was prepared to let go of everything. The other worlds, focus only on you. Contract his light. What's the message? What do you learn from this? This is what he wants you to do. to be prepared to let everything go if necessary. Otherwise, think for a moment. How did our forefathers have the courage to give their life for their beliefs? Their life, Mesirut Nefesh, Yarei Val Yavon, they were prepared to die if the situation arose that demanded that of them. Where do you take the courage? They had the clarity, they understood, they were sincere, they loved Hashem. In their way, on their level. No hesitations, at least not for them. Others, of course, have had hesitations. Some of them did not want to. Their connection to Hashem was obviously not so strong. It was very, very weak. We're not going to blame them. Right now, we're not here to blame anyone. But I'm here just to focus right now on that ability, that the human being has that ability. Now, people have come and said to me, but wait a minute, what about all those terrorists that commit suicide? For Allah, jihad. What's the answer? Yeah, but they're killing people to achieve that goal. Here we're talking about dying yourself, not by taking others with you. And they're willing to do that, the Jews willing to do that without any anticipation of reward. They're expecting some reward for what they did. A whole completely different idea. This is pure love. This is altruistic. This is self-abnegation. To give of oneself to Hashem, regardless of the cost. Some Jews have observed the mitzvot when life was easy. Hashem says life may be tough at times. Are you prepared to do the job even when life is tough? Yeah, I'm out of a job right now, so what? That does not excuse you. What does it take? It takes love. It takes devotion, true devotion to Hashem regardless, because we understand the importance of it. So he says, look at what Hashem did. This is what He wants you to do. Be prepared to let go of everything so that you can connect to Hashem in the most powerful way, and that there should be nothing holding you back. Not inside your body, not outside your body, no money, no nothing. Now he comes to a very important point in this chapter. Now you will understand something very beautiful and special. That most people, even though they say it every single day of their life, don't realize why they're saying it. And I think that this is a very valuable point that he brings out over here. Because once you understand this, you will realize how the tefillah, the prayer, was composed in a very, very specific way. Not only through Kabbalah, and through deep thought, and through tradition, and all sorts of other ideas that are expressed in the prayer book. But there's a tremendous emphasis here on how do we go about connecting to Hashem? How do we do it properly? How do we not rush through it? Which is unfortunately something that people do every day also. They rush sometimes through it. How do we focus on the words that we're saying? What should we have in mind? So in order to achieve a connection to Hashem through prayer, the rabbis told us that it's important to prepare. You need to prepare. You can't just run into it. And they spell out the various details of how one prepares himself for prayer. Some rabbis in the past took a long time to prepare. Today we don't have so much time in the mornings to prepare in the same way that they did. But there are certain prayers that are introductions to the other prayers, and they act as preparation. And that's why I was saying before, this is so important, because we don't even realize that when we're saying certain prayers, they're actually helping us with the following prayer that is even more important. Okay? בזה יובן טוב טעם ודעת לתקנת חכמים שתקנו בהלכות קריאת שמע 2 לפניה. We can understand very well, we can understand somewhat the beauty, the reasoning of why the rabbis composed the 2 blessings before Kriyat Shema. Yotzer Or, and Ahavat Olam. Right? Here we're not talking about the blessings after Shema, we're talking about the introduction to Shema. Shema Israel, one of the most important prayers that we have on a regular basis. Kabbalat Ol Malchut Shamayim, the acceptance of the yoke of heaven. So, our emunah depends on this. So here we're told, wait a minute, don't rush into it. You're going to say two blessings, two short prayers beforehand. And he says, you know what? Now this makes sense why they did it. The Lechora, he said, really, they really don't have any connection to Shema itself. If you look at the words in those prayers and blessings, there's no connection. Like other rabbis have commented. Then why are these called the blessings of Kriyat Shema? And why are they put before the Shema Israel? Good question, no? What's the main message in Kriyat Shema? Is that we fulfill the mitzvot of Hashem with all our heart. But it says Levavecha in the plural. We don't have two hearts. So what did the rabbis tell us? What does it mean? Bishnei Yetzarecha, with your good inclination and with your evil inclination. Which is what I said earlier, when things are good and when things are bad. That's what it means with the evil inclination. Or, Bechol Derachecha Da'eo, in all your ways you should know Him. Even those things that you do for yourself, you should do for Him. That is also a form of doing a mitzvah or showing your love for Hashem with all your heart, even with the Yetzirah. So to love Hashem with the two Yetzarecha, what this implies is to basically not allow any impediment, any obstacle to get in the way between us and the love for Hashem. With your good and with your evil inclination, with both, with all your power, regardless of the situation, regardless of the struggles you have. They can also correspond to one's wife and children. One's heart instinctively is attached to them. So, I got to do this for Hashem now. I have my wife, my kids. See, there's a lot of examples in life where things get in the way. And here we're told, be careful with where your priorities are and how you focus, and that you do things in a way that that there's nothing blocking the way. That you don't let anything get in the way. Do things in a way that hopefully you won't hesitate. Hesitation is not a good thing when it comes to the service of Hashem. Why? Because it's the Yetzer Hara that's causing you to hesitate, the evil inclination. If something is good, why hesitate? If something is right, why not do it? Because there's some obstacle that's trying to get in the way. So here we're told, love Hashem in such a way that you don't let anything get in the way. כמו שאמרו רז"ל על הפסוק, הוא אמר ויהי, that pasuk is going, זו אישה, השיפוט ציווה ויעמוד אלו בנים, that relates to the children. ונפשך ומאודיך כמשמעו, and your soul to do the mitzvot with all your soul and with all your might. This is easy to understand because it's talking about chaye umzone. It's talking about one's sustenance, one's life. להפקיר הכל, to be prepared to let everything go, בשביל אהבת Hashem, for the love of Hashem. So here, what we see so far is that the prayer alone, is preparing us to focus on the love of Hashem in such a way that we're not going to let anything get in the way. Now, this is something very, very beautiful and special. And some might say, isn't this asking a lot? We're only human. Obviously, I admit a lot of people will struggle in life, will hesitate as well. But that's the point here. It is possible through a little bit of preparation. Through a little bit of preparation and through better focus, it is possible to overcome some of those obstacles. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about it. He emphasizes this because that's the ultimate goal. Don't you want to get to that destination? Don't you want to achieve that? You can do it. Trust yourself. Believe that you can. You first have to have a will. We spoke about that before. If there's no will, there's no interest, forget it. Once we've rekindled in someone's heart a will, then that's something that can eventually grow. But we still need direction. We need to know how to focus. So that's what this chapter is all about. Reciprocate that love. Just think about that. You owe it to him. Thank him. Be appreciative. It all goes together. So ve'ech yavo adam hachomri midah zo, now he asks. So how could somebody who's physical come to this midah? To love Hashem. How could he come? He's physical. Lechach sidru tchila b'kat yotzer or. That's why they put yotzer or before Shema. What does it say there? Sham ne'emar v'nishna b'arichu. There you have it in detail, at length. Inyan v'seder ha'malachim ha'omdim berum olam. You have a whole description of the angels, the upper angels, the higher angels, who are in the highest world, what they're doing, and how they're serving Hashem. To describe to us the greatness of Hashem and how all these angels are completely annulled in His light. And how they pronounce whatever they pronounce with fear and awe. They sanctify. And they say through their fear, Kadosh, that Hashem is a part. Kadosh, holy means here to be a part. Klomar, shehu muvdal mehen, that he's apart from them, from these angels. And even they cannot see too much of him. He is not revealed to them. They do not dress up in them. He does not dress up, that light does not dress up in them in a revealed way. Even though he fills the entire universe, the main focus is Knesset Yisrael Lemala, Malchut Atzilut, Shoresh HaNeshamot, the source of all souls. That is what he means by Knesset Yisrael. That is where his focus is, Be Israel, and the physical Israel, Lemata too. His focus is on the source of their soul in the upper world and down here below. So, these malachim on their level don't have too much of a revelation. And they're occupied in pronouncing praises of Hashem and describing how even in that higher world, His Gilui is not so much revealed. So in other words, they have a certain awareness of Him, but not too much, because He's Kadosh, He's apart. And then, lower on, V'chena Ofanim V'chayot HaKodesh. Other kinds of angels, lower, called Ofanim and Chayot HaKodesh. You remember now the prayer? As I'm saying, as I'm calling him out, right? Berash Gadol, with tremendous sound. What do they say? Baruch Kevod Hashem Mimekomo. Blessed be Hashem from His place. Mimekomo, that means they don't even know where it is. They just say Mimekomo. If Yishein Yodimu Masigim Mekomo, they don't even have an understanding where that place is. They're even lower. Ukebosh Katuv, Ki Hu Levado Marom Vekadosh. Only He is so elevated and holy. So that is that bracha. Look what we're doing. Look how we're preparing ourselves for the Shema by describing what the Malachim are saying in the higher worlds. How they are not the focus. They are not the focus. We are going to be the focus. Then comes bracha shniya, ahavat olam. Ahavtanu Hashem Elokeinu. This love, the world of olam. What does it mean, ahavat olam? Usually it means an eternal love. But here, on a deeper level, it means the love for this world. Because Hashem is showing a love for this world, dafka, specifically, the lower world. So this is the love that you're showing us, ahavtanu Hashem Elokeinu. Klomar, in other words, shiniach kol tzva malach doshim. He left all the higher hosts of angels. And He put His divine presence on us and so that we can call Him Elokeinu, our God. What does that mean that we can call him? Yeah, just like Abraham, Kimo Elokei Abraham. It is said that it is the God of Abraham because Abraham was batel before him. He annulled himself before him. So we too, we are lucky. We're fortunate that we can call him Elokeinu, our God. Who can say that? Your God? The God of the world. No. Hashem gave us that privilege to be able to call him. Behainu ki ahava docheket habasar, as we said before, that love is so powerful that it impels through flesh. In other words, it can come down all the way, can contract itself even. V'lachen nikra ahavat olam. He said that's why he called this, why the prayer is called ahavat olam. Shu b'chinat tzimtzum oro hagadol habelti tachlit. It is the contraction of that infinite light. Litlabesh b'chinat gvul hanikra olam, that it wants to dress itself up in a physical world called olam. Olam is physical. It's limited, which is what he said before. The ahava docheket habasar. It is that love is so powerful that it's capable of impelling, of going all the way through and contracting itself to reach the lower worlds. Why? Bavur ahavat amo Yisrael, because of his love for the Jewish nation. Kedei lekarvam elav, in order to bring them close, likalel b'yichudo v'chaduto yitbarach, so that we can be absorbed in his unity. And that is also the meaning of chemla gedola v'yitera, that is also said in the prayer. You show tremendous compassion, extra compassion. Pirush yitera al kirvat elokim shebekol tzava mala. You showed more compassion over us than you did over the celestial beings that you have in the upper worlds, the angels and the like. Ubanu baharta mikol am velashon. And you have chosen us also from among the nations. Why say that? Because it's no longer just about the neshama, which is what the Tanya speaks about in the beginning, that there is levels of neshamot, that he chose this particular level of neshama to accomplish his mission, the Jewish people. But here he's talking about the physical body of the Jew, that he chose us, who are gufa chomri, hanidmeh bechomri yitu legufei umot olam. The bodies are the same, they look alike, whether you're Japanese or whether you're Finnish or Albanian, it makes no difference. You have a physical body that is a creation of Hashem. The bodies are the same. But he chose this particular body, this particular nation. Kiraftanu, you brought us close to you. Lehodot, to thank. Now the thanking, which is another mechanism by which we can connect to Hashem, he doesn't talk about it here. He says, Pirush hoda'ah yitbaer b'makom acher, I'll talk about it in another place. But that's also very important. Thanking Hashem. Uliachetcha, to pronounce your oneness. Likalel b'yichudo yitbarach, to be absorbed in your oneness, in your unity. V'ine kasheyasima maskil ela dvarim elum kadeliba. So the thinker, look how he says the maskil, the thinker. If he takes these words to heart, if he thinks about them deeply, elum kadeliba umocha, to his heart and his head, then he will be able to reciprocate that love. He says he will be mitlahet. In other words, he will ignite. He will be excited. His nefesh, his soul, will be very excited. V'titlabesh beruach nediva, and it will become more benevolent. Litnadev, le'aniach v'la'azov, to let go. It will want on its own. This is not important to me anymore. I want to focus on Hashem. When he thinks about these things, he will be dressed up with this type of a spirit, to be prepared to let go of everything that's physical. Only to attach himself to Hashem, to be absorbed and included in his light, through real attachment and desire. Like I said before, through the category or level of a kiss, which includes rucha berucha, the spirit with the spirit. To just understand a little bit more what he means by that, spirit with the spirit, is because in the end, when we learn Torah, It is our neshama that is connecting, not the physical body per se. So when one learns, it's a certain type of experience. When one says the words, when one does the ma'asim, it's another kind of experience. Different kinds of levels of attachment, and that is why on the highest level it's both. It is Prinat Neshikin and Rucha Berucha. It's the two of them. It is a kiss which is a strong connection, and it's a spirit which is a strong connection. One is more physical, one is more spiritual. You need both. And that is the emphasis here towards the end of the chapter. You need both. You cannot just learn Torah and not say the words. You cannot just learn and be knowledgeable and not do. As we said before, Judaism demands deeds. Hashem wants certain deeds to be performed in this world. You need to elevate the world and elevate yourself. You can't just think about it. You can't just meditate on it. You can't just learn it. You got to do it. And that is what forms the various kinds of connections, including the kiss that he's talking about in Rucha Berucha. How is it? How is it that this is a level of Idabkut Rucha Berucha, spirit to spirit? To explain this, the words continue in the Shema. That's the end of the Shema. You want to know how to accomplish this Rucha Berucha, spirit to spirit? The rest of Shema tells you how. Adapt these words, put them on your heart, talk about them, learn about them. In other words, bring them close to you. Don't just believe in them and say, oh, they're so beautiful and nice. Adopt them, implement them in your life. So what you have here is put these words, implement them, absorb them in your heart, and speak about them. It is written in the Sefer Eitz Chaim, Yechud HaNeshikin Yikaru Yechud Chabad B'Chabad, that the main connection of Neshikin, of kisses, comes about through Chokhmah B'nah V'dat of the human being with the Chokhmah B'nah V'dat in Hashem. And that happens through the medium called Iyun HaTorah, by analyzing, by studying the Torah in depth, not superficially. So what's the mouth for? What do you need the mouth for then? If that is the connection on that level of Iyun HaTorah, then what do you need the mouth? The mouth acts as an outlet for the spirit and its revelation. So that which we learn and that which we understand, we bring it out into the open, bringing it out in a revealed state. That's when we speak the words of Torah. We don't just learn it, but we actually speak it and say it out loud. As the Pasuk says, for through anything that comes out from the mouth of Hashem, man can live. Which literally means that Hashem can provide parnasah, livelihood, to every individual in all kinds of ways, however Hashem decides. But here, the interpretation is more on that which has come out of the mouth. Yichya Adam. In other words, that is ultimately what brings life to what he has learned. Not just learned it, but expressed it. And that is why he's saying that it is through everything that comes out of Hashem's mouth that one will live. Yes, but not that it's for you to just think about and learn and understand. You did not fulfill your obligations behirhur alone, through thoughts, v'iyun and analysis, until you actually express it with your lips. Because what you want to do is you want to draw that light of Hashem further down all the way to where? Ad nefesh hachiyunit, until your physical spirit, hashochenet badam adam, that is in the blood, amithaveh midomem tzomeh chai, that has been formed from that which is inanimate, that which is plant life, that which is alive, because we eat those things. So when we eat those things, they are transformed in the body. They are elevated to a higher level. And that which is in the physical body is then further elevated through the Torah that we have said, not just learned. To elevate them all to Hashem, with the whole world, and to let them be absorbed and included in the light of Hashem. Asher ya'il ha'aretz v'ladarim alea. Asher ya'il ha'aretz v'ladarim, that it will eventually illuminate the entire world and to all its inhabitants. This will happen when Mashiach comes, that the world will be so illuminated with the light of Hashem that every flesh will see. Look what it says. It doesn't say every human being, every flesh. It will be so transparent that the flesh will feel it. It will be so obvious. And that is the goal. That is the only goal, basically, that is clear to us, that Hashem created the world by going from stage to stage, world after world, to bring down His light in a contracted way, so that Kevod Hashem, which is Malek Kol Haaretz, the glory of Hashem, which really fills the entire world, should fill the physical world. Dafka, this is where He wants it, Dafka specifically, in a revealed state, as much as possible. It should be revealed because it's concealed. So we have to reveal it. And how do we reveal it? When we go ahead and when we transform darkness into light, when we transform bitterness into sweetness, as it's been explained elsewhere in length. So this is, in the end, the purpose, or the kavanah that one should have, the intent that he should have when he serves Hashem. He should think about how he needs to be mamshich the or in so baruch hu, how he needs to draw the light of Hashem lemata down here below. That's what he should think about. But what else does he need to be aware of? Even though that's very nice that you want to do this and you agree to it, na'aseh v'nishma, as the Jewish people said, it won't happen so easily. Until when? The last line here is very, very fundamental. In order to achieve that, you first need halat man. It's a Kabbalistic concept. You need to bring the maim nukvim, the female waters, which describes the actions that man needs to do here. Certain actions that he needs to elevate, which in this case means limsor lo nafsho meudo, that he has to be prepared to give his life and his money, his might if necessary. So the way he ends the chapter is with a very important, fundamental idea, a Kabbalistic concept, that if we want to achieve this goal properly, then we need to do it right. And to do it right means la'alat man. We need to be prepared to raise the feminine waters. That which is feminine is the recipient. So since when does it send something up? It needs to do something too, in order to receive. You want to be able to receive all that love, you want to be able to connect on a spiritual level, you need to initiate. I tell husbands who are having trouble with their wives, if you wait for your wife to change, it will never happen. You are the male. You are the one that needs to initiate. The male initiates. You can't wait. The female receives. Of course she needs to do whatever she can too. But if no one is going to move, who is it up to? Who's the one that can make the difference? The man, much more than the woman. He has more of a power to initiate, to push. He has the drive, hopefully. And that is what's needed over here. If you have that drive to do what? To be prepared to give up everything for Hashem. If you have that kavanah in Kriyat Shema, which is what was prepared for us, and you say those words properly, that I'm prepared to give everything up for you. I want this connection, and I'm prepared to give everything up. Those words that are being said, especially after the introduction that we have with the two blessings, will hopefully give this man, give this Jew the proper focus that he needs to B'ezrat Hashem accomplish what he set out to accomplish, to connect Hashem in the most powerful way. So we see from this how it's important to be prepared to give to Hashem everything if necessary. This is key. This is the key. Be prepared to let everything go if necessary, because there will sometimes be obstacles, because this is priority number one, Hashem Echad. Are you prepared to do that? You need preparation. Look at what Hashem did for you, how He left everything and learned to reciprocate. So when one has the proper kavanah and focuses properly in this prayer of Kriyat Shema and the blessings beforehand, B'ezrat Hashem, this will be a great help for him getting closer to Hashem.